Good evening, everyone. This is Nitha Ramachandra from the NRR Sports Show. This is episode 809. I'm joined by a really special guest. His name is Andy Levitre. He's a former NFL offensive guard. He played for the Bills, Titans, and the Falcons, and he played 10 years in the league. He started all of his games, and obviously he had a great career. And we are looking forward to this. He went to Oregon State for college. But first of all, Andy, how are you and your family doing during this tough situation? And thank you again for coming on the show.
Yeah, you're welcome. We're doing good, man. We just, during COVID, we just been hunkering down with the kids, and we're lucky to be close to the ocean, so we've been finding ways to take them to the beach and entertaining the kids. While everything's been closed down. So now that things are starting to open back up and whatnot, it's feels a lot nicer. It's a lot of those things you take for granted, and getting a chance to do more with the kids is nice.
So I want to start off with your childhood and when you were growing up, and when did you get interested in playing sports, and especially football? Before deciding football, did you play any other sports, and did you have like a role model growing up in the sports industry?
I grew up like going to football games, like the Niners and Raiders were the local teams, so I grew up watching them. And I like going to the games, but I wasn't like a crazy diehard fan per se. Um, and I played a little bit of baseball in like elementary school, and didn't really play sports in junior high. And then high school came around. I have an older brother who's about 2 years older than me, and he was started playing football, and he was really into it, and it kind of got me intrigued into playing football. A lot of my friends in high school played football too, so that was another kind of perk of getting an opportunity to play, was that I could spend some time with my friends after school. So that's kind of how it started, and then I just kind of I really enjoyed it, and some of the coaches and stuff thought I would have some potential to make it to the next level, and so I believed in myself that I could, given that they kind of put the confidence in me to think that I'd be able to. Um, so yeah, I kind of pursued a career beyond high school. Um, got some scholarship offers. I actually, funny story. The area I grew up in is not like a highly recruited area per se. You don't have like a lot of people out here that make it to, college, or even pro. So, I kind of took it upon myself, with the help of my grandfather, to look up college addresses. And this was back when there was VHS, and so I connected two VHS players together and kind of dubbed my own highlight tape per se, and sent them off to every call. I'd say just about every college. There's like at least 100 schools. And I got a lot of rejection letters. They even sent me my video back and said, sorry, but thanks for sending it. Which was fine. And I ended up getting a few offers. I got I think I got 4 or 5 offers out of the deal from that. And so, who knows if I would have even gotten that if I hadn't gone through that and sent the tapes out. So I was lucky enough to get a couple of scholarship offers there.
Did you look up to anyone in the NFL growing up, or no?
Not necessarily, no. I was more so my brother, my older brother, who played. He was kind of the one that kind of sparked the fire for me to start playing football. So, especially throughout college. And then my brother ended up playing college ball at Arizona, and so kind of getting to watch him go through the process, and he had a pretty good career. Didn't finish the way he had planned on it, just some political things, but I was always proud of the way that he carried himself and played, and I always attempted to try and follow in his footsteps, and maybe learn from some bumps that he had along the way to make my path a little bit clearer.
So I want to ask you about your high school career. So before settling on offensive guard, did the coach make you play other positions other than guard, like offense, any other offensive positions or defense when you were in high school?
Yeah, in high school I played D-line, and I played tackle, offensive tackle. And then I was actually bigger in high school than I was in college and pro. but I played a little like short yardage running back, like, maybe like a 2-point conversion or, like third and short or something. They would stick me back there and try and get some guys to tackle me, which was kind of comical. But yeah, I mean, that was really it. But for the most part, I played guard and like nose or D tackle. I actually got recruited by Stanford to play D tackle, but
Wow.
that didn't work out for academic reasons. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. I think my calling was mostly at offensive line. Most guys and people in college saw me as like a tackle or guard. Um, so yeah, and I kind of played that throughout college too. I was earlier on in my career in college, I was kind of in the mix at guard and tackle.
Mhm.
Even tried me at center a little bit, so I was kind of all over the place in that.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So take me through your process before we get to your college career. As a how long did it take you to get adjusted to being the offensive line? And actually, I had a couple of other offensive linemen on the show, like Nick Hardwick was on the show, and I had Eric Wood on the show too. What was your process getting into the offensive line?
Um, just like flexibility, a lot of, when you're younger, you're a lot more stiff, or at least for me. And I feel like I kind of see that in general too. So just getting some flexibility and being strong through those ranges of motion. Probably the biggest thing, and it's difficult to do. I think the more you move, the more that kind of thing comes. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like football specific, but just, finding ways to be active and keep your body moving and in shape definitely helps, transition on the field.
Hmm. So now getting to your college recruitment, obviously you said you got like a lot of scholarship offers, but what made you choose Oregon State, and what was their recruiting pitch to you?
Yeah, it was kind of an interesting deal. I had a few other offers. I think it was like Fresno State, Arizona, which was kind of intriguing because my brother was in school there at the time. Um, Oregon State, and then I know LSU was the other one. It was when Saban was out there,
Huh.
and they had just come off their national championship. And I was really intrigued at that one. I actually tried to commit to LSU at the time, but they had said that they had way too many guys that were committed to the team, and that I would be like a preferred walk-on situation. And I think just financially for me, that didn't make much sense, especially given I had some other offers on the table. Um, and for Oregon State, I had always, through the whole process, enjoyed talking with them, and the coaching staff was just great. And when I got there, it was just as I had thought it was going to be, and even probably better, if not what I thought it was going to be. um, and I still keep in touch with a lot of the people that I was surrounded by at that school. It was just a great experience for me. What a great school to like focus on getting an education and playing football. I mean, if you ever been to Corvallis, there's really not much to the town other than the school. And so that's like the main focus of Corvallis. And so in the summers you can spend the summers out there, and we're out there training, and that's what we're there to do. There's not a lot of distractions outside of there, so it's nice to it was good for me to be able to focus on my passion and my goals, and be able to accomplish those things, and not have be in like a big city where there's a lot going on, a lot of temptation outside of football to maybe slouch a little bit. So I was definitely thankful to the staff there for recruiting me and bringing me in, and great family atmosphere. It was a good experience for me.
Yeah, the Oregon State is up and coming program, and they produce really good NFL talent now. And in a couple years, in the last couple years, they had a lot of great NFL talent. But for you, what did you like about the playing in front of those fans, wearing the orange jerseys, and what was it like just playing, being in that atmosphere?
It was cool, man. Like the third down chainsaws, like obviously like the epic deal there for game day. I don't know. I mean, it was just it was an exciting time. at least from what I recall. And we were so the group of guys in that locker room were so close. Um, I would like to say you probably wouldn't find that a group of college guys as close as we were. It just felt so, we all got along really well. We all um, bonded, and I've kind of found that throughout my career on all the teams that I've been on that have been very successful. Is kind of the underlying theme is the connection that you have with the guys in the locker room. The deeper the connection you have, I find you have more success on the field. I don't know if you just come out feeling more confident, and everybody has each other's back, and you can kind of play that way. So yeah, that was kind of the deal, and that's the way I felt that the guys we had in the locker room there.
Hmm. So now I want to get to your draft experience. Obviously, you got drafted in 09, round 2, pick 51 by the Buffalo Bills. What was that like, spending time with your family, waiting for your name to be called? And once your name got called, what was the feeling like from the Bills?
Yeah, it was kind of an interesting deal that was a long time ago. So I'll try and recall as best I can. But I definitely recall parts of it. It was kind of nerve-wracking just because there's so much uncertainty. You could be a first rounder, you could be a fifth rounder, you couldn't get undrafted. You don't really know. It kind of depends. You get kind of a feeling pre-draft with visits and phone calls and such, but like you don't really know until it comes down to them making the decisions. And so, I was hoping. I kind of held hope out that maybe I would make it in the first round, and I didn't. I wasn't disappointed, but it's just okay. It is what it is. And I think it was back when they had like the first and second round in the same day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think they had the first and second round the same day.
In 09? Oh, I know.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just know because we had a barbecue at my friend's house for the draft, and it had to have been the same day because we wouldn't have had a barbecue 2 days in a row. So I do remember getting a phone call from them, and I think it was the Cowboys the Cowboys were up. It was the 15th pick of the second round, and I got a phone call from a Buffalo number, and they were like, "Hey, we're trying to work the trade for you. Stay on the phone." And they just kind of put me on hold. And then, I was on hold for a few minutes, and then it was kind of like, okay, yeah, the trade went through, it's going. And then like, so everybody, kind of watching the TV and seeing, and it was definitely an exciting moment. It was cool. I was not expecting, they drafted Eric Wood in the first round.
Yeah.
So I kind of wasn't expecting for that to be a potential anymore. But you never know in the draft, there's always surprises. So it was really cool. I was excited. I really enjoyed my time in Buffalo. What a great city. Just great people. I still have ties there. My wife's from there, so we're back there all the time. But a really, really unique place to play football. It's kind of like a collegey atmosphere where it's really electric. Yeah. Whereas like some pro stadiums, you don't get that feel. But Buffalo is definitely one of those like rare NFL teams where like the town's behind you. It was definitely a cool deal. But yeah, for the draft, one of my teammates from college ended up getting drafted by the Cowboys with the pick that they traded the Bills to get me. So that was kind of a cool deal too.
Oh, I'm a big Cowboy fan, and who was your friend? I don't remember.
Victor Butler.
Oh yeah, that unfortunately didn't pan out, but he was a great player in Oregon State, though.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he had a good career. We and him got to compete against each other a lot during the week, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah. So what are you thinking as a rookie, heading into the Bills locker room and rookie training camp? And what was your main goals that time focus on? And when you go there, you see players like Terrell Owens, Ryan Fitzmagic, and other great talented players. What goes to your mind when you see those players?
Yeah, I think I was mostly focused on just trying to work on my craft and be the best version of me that I could, and that's always kind of been my motto. I mean, going through my career, I've always been one of those people who's kind of not been the most talented guys, but I am one of the guys that people be like, yeah, this guy works really hard and puts in a lot of time and effort to like, try and be his best. Even though I may not be the best, I'm giving everything I got and maxing out what I can. So that was kind of my mentality. I feel like I probably had a rough year or two, my first year or so there, just kind of, going through the ropes and, trying to, I don't know. I think just like nervousness or whatever, everything's just moving fast and trying too hard on things. And then like kind of settle in and, figure out that when you play that way, you play kind of out of your shoes and you got to be more relaxed and under control. And it's definitely a game of being in control. And so that was kind of, just a learning process for me. But yeah, I felt like some of my best years were definitely in Buffalo. Yeah, I felt like the last couple of years I was there, I felt like I was kind of finding my rhythm finally.
Hmm. And like obviously on defense, you guys had a lot of talent. Donnie Whitner, you had Lee, you had Jarius Bird. Oh yeah, and then you had Kyle Williams. I love him as a player, great talent, and even offense, Fred Jackson too. You got to play with a lot of great talent. But what was it like just to play with Eric Wood throughout your career and blocking for Ryan Fitzmagic?
It was cool. We had it was another one of those groups. Or like our offensive line group was really close. We were a younger group. We had a couple veterans in the room, but we had a lot of fun together. A lot of good memories, and we worked our butts off, and we played hard, every week. And that's definitely, that group is definitely going to be remembered. Some of my first few years in the NFL, and just establishing those relationships and such a cool, unique experience. But yeah, it was definitely cool. Seeing too as some of those players' careers went on, some of those guys are coming to an end, but to realize kind of how special of a group of guys that were around in that locker room and getting an opportunity to play with them. It's kind of hard. You don't want to take this game for granted because you never know when your time's going to end. So I'm getting a chance now finally, being retired, to like step back and think about how cool that was. Yeah, that was definitely nice. Definitely good to share a locker room with those guys.
And I gotta ask you though, for yourself, what was it like playing for Bills Mafia? The fans, like you said, the atmosphere is like a college atmosphere, and those fans go crazy. And obviously, the Bills are competing again. They're a great team. They're a scary team this year, obviously again. But what do you like about Bills Mafia?
It's wild, man. I feel like momentum was starting to pick up when I was leaving there, Bills Mafia. Now it's just gotten like out of control, and by out of control, I mean in the best way possible. Like, they just had, it seems like even when I was there, I thought they had just an awesome following, and I'm sure it's tenfold of what it is or what it was when I was there. Yeah, I see videos of people jumping through tables and stuff like that. And that's, that's kind of how I saw it when I was there. I was like, man, these fans are just like loyal to the core. And like even most college fans, you wouldn't even see that diehard. I mean, you get like the college kids that may be on game day, but like there's just people who like bleed, the Buffalo Bills. And so it's cool. I mean, shoot, you're like you walk around town, and I mean, I feel like everybody is a football fan that's in Buffalo. I don't think I run into somebody there that's not like a Bills fan or doesn't know much about the Bills.
So now transitioning to your career, now you went to Tennessee Titans, another great organization that's on the rise. And What did you like about Tennessee? And obviously, you play with Ryan Fitzpatrick again in Tennessee. Was it a package deal or something, or how did it pan out? How did that work out?
No, that was just luck of the draw, man. That was kind of cool that we ended up there. That was definitely nice to see him on the roster there. I didn't know, you never know how free agency and stuff's going to shake out. So he's a great guy. So
Still going at it too, by the way.
I know, man. I talked to him a few years ago, and I was like, dude, how many more years do you got? He's like, I don't know. Just keep going. I mean, if he can, good for him. He'll know when it's his time. But as long as he's enjoying it, that's what matters. But yeah, it was definitely a cool experience to get to play with him again because we had such a great time in Buffalo. I mean, he is an awesome guy. I can't say enough good things about him. And yeah, no, Tennessee was it was a little short lived, but it was a good ride. My wife and I really enjoyed living in the city of Nashville. We're actually thinking about making Nashville our home here permanently. So we're kind of in the process of moving back out there. But yeah, it was kind of a difficult couple years there. I was coming off of an injury from the end of my career in Buffalo, and yeah, I just had a rough go, coming back from the surgery, and then ended up getting another injury. In the middle of my first season there, and so I had another surgery, and then got another injury after that during that season, and so I opted to not get another surgery, and they kind of already were, they probably already wrote me off before then, but yeah, I kind of saw the writing on the wall leading up to the last few weeks of my career there. But it was good. I had a good time there. I met a lot of great people in the city of Nashville. Like I said, my wife and I love the city. We still have a lot of friends that are out that way. We enjoy going back there. The organization was always good to me. I don't have any bad blood towards the organization. I get the business part of it. And so, yeah, it was a short-lived experience, but it was good when I was there.
Yeah, and you got to play with Chris Johnson, one of the best running backs ever to play the game, and what a great talent he was. But I got to ask you, this is a question I always like to ask athletes, and I'm speaking of family. Family is really important when it comes to sports and the sacrifice they make for you guys. And how tough is it for your wife and you and your kids, if you had kids at that time, moving from team to team?
Yeah, so my wife is actually from Buffalo, and so that was kind of she had lived in Buffalo her whole life, so that was her first big move. And it's, there's definitely like a getting acclimated to being in a new city, especially for her since she had never moved. By the time I was in Tennessee, I'd been in Oregon State, been to Buffalo, and then now Tennessee. So I'd moved a few times since then. So it wasn't new to me, but for her, just finding friends, getting the lay of the land, and finding out what your interests are in the area. There's definitely a transition period, but like I told you, we're making Nashville our home. So she clearly loves it as well. So she had a blast there and really enjoyed it. But yeah, there's definitely some bumps in the road. Anytime you move, you kind of start fresh. We didn't have kids until we were in Atlanta, so we didn't really have to deal with that first time around.
Yeah, speaking of Atlanta, you went from two great organizations to another great one, and you play with this roster was loaded when you were there, and you had Julio Jones, Devontae Freeman, Tevin Coleman, Rodney White, Matt Ryan. You played with Matt Schaub too, and I had Matt Schaub on the show too a couple months back, and he was awesome to talk to. And what was your time? What was it like playing for Atlanta? And this team is on the rise too.
Yeah, when I got there, it was kind of a weird deal. I got traded from Tennessee there right at the end of the preseason, and so I kind of just jumped right into the fire. Started the regular season in 15 right off the bat, and Yeah, I mean, I didn't really know what I was getting into. I didn't really know much about the staff. I mean, I know who Matt Ryan was and Julio, Roddy, but like, I didn't really like follow them too much because when I'm playing, I'm so focused on my game, my team, what we got going on that I'm not really paying much attention to the outside stuff other than whatever you kind of hear on ESPN or whatever while you're eating lunch. Um, so yeah, so I didn't really know what I was getting into. And as I got there, I'll never forget. I sat down in Dan Quinn's office, and he said,
Mhm.
I just want you to be you. Don't be anything. Don't try and be more than that. Just be yourself, and let things fall, how they may. And so that was really calming to me. Um, to feel like I don't have to try and impress anybody or
Yeah.
do something that I may not be able to do. Just go out and be myself. And that was one of the coolest experiences in my career. It made football fun for me again. I kind of had, like I was telling you, I had kind of had a rough patch of football
Yeah.
before that, and so I was able to enjoy myself. I was laughing a lot, on the field and cracking jokes and this and that, and playing some of the best ball I'd played in my career. And so I was it was definitely like refreshing to me to make it to Atlanta and then to be surrounded by
Yeah.
such great talent. I mean, it was the most talent I'd ever had on one team in my career. And so that definitely makes it a little bit easier to have some studs out there that you get to line up with, and guys can make plays.
Yeah, Falcons are known for the offensive linemen. If I'm not mistaken, you got to play with Alex Mack, right, in Atlanta?
Yeah, I did. That was cool.
He just signed a new deal with 49ers. And what was it like playing with him on the offensive line and then going back and forth feedback with him?
It's good, man. He's just such a well-rounded player. He doesn't make very many mistakes, and I think that's part of what makes him such a great player. He's got all the tools that you need to be successful. And I mean, kudos to him for playing. I mean, we came in the same year, and he's still playing. So I was talking to him towards the end of my career. I'm like, "Oh, dude, how's your body feeling?" He's like, "Oh, pretty good." And I'm like, "Good for you, man. I feel like I'm on my way out here." So no, he's a good guy. I mean, as long as he feels like it, I'm sure he can play as long as he wants. I know he's got the capability and all the tools to make that happen. But yeah, I've always respected the way that he approaches the game, the way he studies for the game. Um, he's definitely a true professional in the way that he goes about it.
Hmm. So I got to ask you about Coach Quinn, and obviously we have him now in Dallas, where he's in the new defensive corner in Dallas, and hopefully he brings some light to us for the defense. And what was it like playing underneath him? And I feel like he brings a fiery passion to the team. Um, he's all about the players and all about making the teams better. So what was it like playing with him?
It was really cool. It was definitely a different approach from any of the other teams I played for. So I hadn't experienced it before, and I took to it really well. He's definitely about the players. He wants the players to lead the team, and he facilitates it well. Um, yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed my time there with him. I respect him a lot, the way he approaches the game, the way he works with the players, and he's not a guy that's gonna just like yell and demean people. He wants to bring people up and build confidence in people so that when they go out on the field, they're confident in themselves to make plays and do what he knows they're capable of doing. So I've always, and again, I didn't know anything about Dan Quinn before I got to Atlanta. I honestly didn't even know he was the coach.
Hmm.
So getting a chance to uh, interact with him, and like the first impression I had with him, like I told you earlier, and just, I mean, on the day to day, and he's just a real person. You can connect with him on a personal level. Really down to earth, easy to talk to, and can't say enough good things about him.
So, did you ever think after your Atlanta career that you could have still played more, or did you hint at retirement after Atlanta, the last year in Atlanta?
Um, I was attempting to try to play another year or two, and then yeah, I was looking into going back to Buffalo for another year or two, and it just kind of fell through from the injury standpoint. Honestly, I wasn't even sure if I would be able to play just from the tricep injury I had. But I wanted to give it a go and make sure that I gave it every effort I could. That didn't work out. And then, like the day before I was going to retire, my agent told me that New Orleans was going to ask me if I wanted to work out. And I was like,
Oh, wow.
nah,
Huh.
I'm done. So yeah, I closed that chapter. Um, yeah, I mean, definitely the injury played a big role. I mean, the second time around, I kind of had known it was coming, but then, yeah, I feel like I just didn't have the same passion that I had. I'd always had this passion to lift weights and my preparation in the off season and whatnot, and I kind of found myself getting burnt out towards the end of my career. So the combination with that and the tricep injury that wasn't responding very well kind of made it difficult to come back.
So, let me ask you this: so, if you didn't have that injury, would you be in New Orleans right now?
I'd probably be in Buffalo.
Oh, Buffalo. Okay.
Yeah, I was exploring the option to going back to Buffalo before I retired, and then that fell through because of the injury. Yeah, so then New Orleans called like later on after that, just before I retired, and I had already kind of closed the door on it before they called.
Hmm.
So
So, oh wow. So now looking back at your career, how grateful are you to be in this position to be able to play the game that you loved, play offensive line, and started all the games throughout your career. No, and then also playing with great players, great coaches, great teams. How grateful are you? And obviously, you don't need championships to be in the Hall of Fame, but do you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? Because I think you're I think you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
I think it's a long shot, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's probably more people that have a lot more accolades. Didn't even make a Pro Bowl, so I feel like from a accolade standpoint, probably not. But I'm definitely proud of the way my career went. I'm proud of the fact that I was able to play as long as I was able to play, and without. I mean, I had some injuries definitely along the way, but to just be able to make it through that many games, even with all the bumps and bruises that came along the way, um, then I don't think things worked out the way I had envisioned them going through my career or starting my career out. Um, but I can't complain. I mean, life's good. Um, I have a great family. Um, I got to play football. I got to play with some great people, meet some great people. So I don't. The Hall of Fame's not going to break my heart if I don't make it. Not that I even feel like I have a sniff at it, but yeah, no, I'm just I am. I'm happy the way that things went, and I'm at peace with um, where the way my career went. And I mean, I definitely didn't want to end with an injury, but I've definitely got my fair share of football in leading up to that point.
Yeah, and that's why always call the offensive lineman bodyguards, because you guys are strong warriors. You guys never back down, and obviously the quarterback is the most important position in the NFL. But let me ask you this: how important is the offensive lineman? People don't realize how important offensive lineman is in NFL. Take me to the process. Take me to those people who does not know the importance. I think offensive lineman is the second most important position in the NFL, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you can. I think guys like Aaron Donald would show that expose somebody and show like how much you need a good offensive line to be successful. I mean, you get some good defensive linemen in front of you, and they can ruin a quarterback's day, a running back's day. I mean, they can wreak havoc on you if you don't have a good line. So, it's hard to even establish a play if you can't get things going up front. And so I think, it always kind of sets the tempo too. You give a quarterback time to, you give a guy like Matt Ryan time to throw a ball. I know he's going to make a play. And so it's definitely like, a prideful position, and being able to execute at a high level and being consistent, and that, which is the hardest part. But I think you'll find that a lot of the guys that play for a long time and play really well are the guys that are the most consistent guys. Guys can show flashes of being good, but if you can't be consistent, then you'll get exposed on a couple plays. If you say you have 3 bad plays and they're all sacks. I mean, 3 sacks in a game just for an offensive line is not great, but just for one, even just one player is not good either. So, definitely got to be on your P's and Q's every day, every week. It's a challenging position for sure.
Yeah. So, what advice would you give to these young athletes that are trying to reach to their goals?
I would say to just be the best movers you can, and don't get super fixated on like these offensive line position drills. I've kind of found, at least, and this is all from my personal experiences, you get so fixated on being everything offensive line oriented, but I feel like being being good at movement in general will help find a way to transition to being a better offensive lineman. But if you commit too much time to just being this one position, then you'll kind of be missing out on the rest of your development. So trying to develop yourself as just a whole individual. And there's a lot to learn too, so, I think from a knowledge standpoint, it helps making decisions. I think if you can, studying and learning the playbook and making sure that stuff kind of comes second nature to you. So you're not thinking about stuff as it's happening. You can make quicker decisions, and you can react a lot faster. I've found that to help me be successful as well.
So I don't know how much time we have left, but we do this fun little segment on the show called the rapid fire segment. You ready for this?
How does this work?
All right, so I'll just ask you a question. You just answer as quick as you can.
All right.
Favorite memorable game that you played in your career?
Super Bowl.
Oh yeah. Taking back to that experience, I forgot to mention that you played in. Unfortunately, it didn't pan out. But what was the Super Bowl experience like?
It was good. I mean, obviously we didn't win, and everybody, I'm sure, wants to bring up the comeback, win by New England. But it was a good experience. It was a cool experience to have to play in the game. I'm still in disbelief the way the second half went.
Yeah.
But just to be able to make it. I mean, and leading up to that year, I had never even played in a playoff game or been close to being in the playoffs, and so just even that season in general was just an unreal season to go through. It felt like one of those years where like you just couldn't be stopped. Like anytime you touched the ball, you were going to be moving the ball down and like at the least getting a field goal.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very special year. It was a fun year. It was the most laughing I've ever had on a field. And I mean, it seemed like we could almost just be like giggling on the side or on the line of scrimmage, like in the middle of a play. Cause it was just like comical how good we were that year. I got just so much talent and everybody's executing, on full throttle. It was cool.
I thought you guys had that game and especially in the first half. I said it's over, but I mean, man, that was crazy what happened. But at least that was a great game. But what would you what was your toughest? What would you say your toughest defensive player that you had to guard in your career?
I mean, I've played against some good players. I don't know. I mean, like early in my career, it was like Vince Wilfork and there was like Tommy Kelly, and there was a lot of like good players that were finishing up on their way out, and then you get guys like Aaron Donald who were like fresher guys who were just dominating people. I mean, definitely have had my fair share of challenges. I think I played against every team in the NFL, so I've kind of seen a lot of those guys. I've seen probably, I mean, whoever I was playing in my career, I've probably crossed paths with all those guys.
Hmm. Who has a better beard, James Harden or Ryan Fitzmagic?
Oh, Fitz for sure. That thing's brutal. Depends on what time of the year you ask, though, because later in the season is when it's in its prime.
Yeah. So obviously you got to play with a lot of great running backs: Chris Johnson, Devontae Freeman, Tevin Coleman, Fred Jackson, Steven Jackson. What was that like just to play with those running backs? And who who would win in a race if they competed?
I don't know, honestly, who would win in a race. That's a tough question to ask. They're all, I mean, yeah, I got to play with some good ones, man. Marshawn Lynch was in there
Marshawn
too.
Lynch, yeah, my beast mode.
Beast mode, yeah. Yeah, I've been pretty lucky to have some good backs around. Um, I don't know, man. I guess it's kind of hard to, I've been so spoiled with running backs, it's kind of hard to know what it would be like to not have one.
Yeah. Hmm.
But no, they all run hard. They're all good guys. Yeah, it was fun getting to play with them and have them run behind me.
Yeah. So now, since you retire, what's it been like just to spend time with your family and your wife? And does your wife like having you back home now?
I think she's ready for me to get out of the house, honestly. But no, I'm just kidding. No, it's been good. My kids are still young. My daughter's in preschool, so we spend a lot of time with the kids.
Yeah.
We also got some stuff we're doing for ourselves, and so we stay pretty busy. There's not a lot of downtime during the day, that's for sure. So we're constantly on the move, and I mean, I'm trying to think about going back to where I just got my real estate license here in California, and
Oh,
I'm
wow.
thinking, I don't even know how I'm going to find time to go back to work. I feel like I'm so busy during the day.
Hmm. That's crazy. So I gotta ask you. Obviously, there's some rumors going around with Aaron Rodgers that wants to be out. Obviously, you played against him, and your former teammate Julio Jones wants out now, Atlanta. What are your thoughts on these big names now wanting out? Especially if we don't usually hear big names that want out in the NFL, usually in the NBA or other sports. But what are your thoughts on Julio Jones and Rodgers potentially moving?
Um, I mean, I'm sure there's something going on behind the scenes that none of us know about. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure they're not. I don't think they would just out of the blue say something like that. So I'm sure there's something going on. So it's kind of hard for me to say anything about it
Yeah.
because I'm just kind of speculating at that point. But I'm sure there's something behind the scenes that they're disappointed in the way things are working out. Maybe there's some restructuring of contracts that aren't going the way that they want them to go, or something like that. And so I'm sure they have a reason to be upset. There could be some cap issues going on or something like that. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, though. I mean, there's yeah, those are both good players. So I'm sure somebody will snatch those guys up if they don't stay on the teams they're on right now.
Yes. So speaking of your form, how often do you guys keep in touch with each other, and especially do you still keep in touch with Julio Jones too?
It's kind of difficult, especially with guys that are currently playing. And I was this way when I was playing too. Is you're so consumed in the sport that you're always taking care of your body, and training, and this and that, and so it's kind of hard being away from the game and kind of being at home and having the free time and being in touch with guys that are kind of always on the move and you know busy with football because it's a very time demanding sport. And so I keep in touch with some guys, but not frequently. Just because I know, especially the guys that are still playing, some of the retired guys I know are still, they have more time, they can connect and whatnot. So I keep in touch with a couple retired guys more often, but the guys that are playing, I kind of I know that have a demanding schedule, and so I kind of leave them be.
So, if the right opportunity presents for yourself, would you consider being an offensive line coach or some kind of coach in college or NFL?
I've thought about that. It's kind of intriguing to me. I've talked to my wife about it a little bit too. Uh, I think at some point, maybe, but I don't think at this point, with my kids being so young, I would be ready to commit the kind of time that would be necessary for a job like that. So maybe down the road, if the kids are out a little bit more, and I have more time to myself, maybe I'm sitting around, twiddling my thumbs a little bit, thinking about what I can do. I mean, I definitely know I could help somewhere. Ideally, I'd like, even right now when I don't have the time, maybe like consult somewhere and see if I can give some time, but not be fully committed, just until my kids grow up, and then maybe transition into a more full-time thing down the road. Um, because I know I have the experience. I have, I've been around a lot of coaches. I've played in different systems. I've been successful at what I've done, and I feel like I could help out kids. If I feel like college would probably be a good starting point for me. I feel like high school may be a little more difficult. I feel like it'd probably be a little more challenging for me. I feel like I have such a high, uh, you know, barrier that if I was in a room with kids in high school that didn't really care to maybe make it to the next level, it would kind of deter me a little bit. I feel like I want to be around guys that want to go to the next level and want to make it the next jump, and are work like I did, put in the time and the effort to make it to the next level, kind of thing. So finding a situation like that where I'm around guys that want to pursue excellence, it would definitely make it easier, and you kind of see the fruit of your labor as well. So I don't know, we'll see. I haven't closed that door yet, but it would probably not be for a little while if I did do that.
Hmm. Funniest teammate you play with, and best prank you've been a part of.
Probably Ryan Fitzpatrick. I know he pulled a prank on, what's his name, Ravel Martin.
Uh-huh.
He was a receiver in Buffalo. He played in Green Bay, I think, before. And so there was like or no, he was in Chicago or something. There was some guy who played in like Chicago, and there was like a big drug bust, and it was all over ESPN. He was like spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, making hundreds of thousands of dollars selling drugs or something. And Ryan knew that Ravel played for like Chicago or something, or whatever the team was. And so Ravel went to go take a shower, and Ryan went in his phone and changed his phone number. Like, instead of saying Ryan Fitzpatrick, he put whatever the drug dealer's name was. And then the guy, and then Ravel came back from the shower, and Fitz texted him, and he's like,
No.
dude, I got busted. I have to give your name up. You're gonna get in trouble. And he was just like freaking out. He's like, what? I don't even know you like that. Like, thinking that he was about to go to jail for some drug bust or something. And
That's crazy.
it was pretty funny. I mean, I'm sure there was plenty of other ones, but that's one that just comes to mind.
Yeah. So a couple more things here, and have you been watching the NBA playoffs this year? This year so far?
No, I don't really watch basketball. I honestly don't even. I haven't even watched much football since I retired.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just, like I said, I'm so busy with the kids, busy with stuff I got going around the house. That I'll watch it occasionally. I'm not like every Sunday on the TV at 1 o'clock.
Hmm. Yeah. So I got to ask you about. I want to ask you about Andrew Whitworth real quick. What are your thoughts on him still going at it with the Rams? And I think he's going to go down as one of the best offensive linemen to ever play the game. I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think I remember when I was at the Senior Bowl, he was Paul Alexander. He was the coach at Cincinnati. He was my coach at the Senior Bowl, and he had Whitworth come out to like show us something at practice, or he was just there or something.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that dude's been around for a long time. He's been around before I even started playing.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, no, I'm sure he's probably a Hall of Famer, man. That guy's been around for a long time.
Yeah. So the last two things here before I let you go, our team is part of this foundation called the Hugh Jackson Foundation. He's a former NFL coach, but now he's the offensive coordinator at Tennessee State with Eddie George. We're trying to help him prevent. We're trying to help him prevent human trafficking and making sure the kids stay safe and the community stays safe. And hopefully, hopefully we can stop this because human trafficking is still horrible out there. And we're
Yeah.
really great. Yeah, we're really grateful to be part of his foundation. And Hugh Jackson, obviously you know him, and he's a great guy, great person, and we're just grateful to be part of the foundation. So I'll send you the page so you can check it out.
Yeah, definitely great. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've heard, I think I went to an event in Atlanta, and it sounds like it's pretty prevalent. If it's kind of, if you're not aware of it, you may not see it, but it definitely sounds like there's a lot of that going on. And so I think that's a good issue to tackle.
Yeah, and the last thing here, would you like to say anything to all the nurses, doctors, and essential workers right now?
I just appreciate all the risks that you guys take every day for keeping people safe and healthy, and keeping us all alive.
Yeah, well said. And there it is. That wraps up episode 809 for the NR Sports Show with former NFL offensive guard Andy Levitre. He played for the Bills, Titans, Falcons. Like I said, he went to college for Oregon State. He played all his games throughout his career. What a great player. And man, this was an honor. Learned a lot from this interview. Keep up the great work. You and your family stay safe. We would like to have you back as a returning guest at some point to meet the full team, and hopefully you get an opportunity in coaching some down the line. But you can make a great offensive line coach somewhere. But keep up the great work.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on.
No problem.